Hello everybody, it's me again. I'm trying to use my tiny little tabletop tripod for this bit of video. I want to say project, but yeah, it is kind of. But anyway, so I've got my drill batteries here, and these are the things that got me started in dealing with these lithium batteries, because I had this Hitachi drill. Brand new. It's a really good drill, obviously. I bought it at Lowe's, I believe it was. It's a 14 volt. And, initially the batteries were great. I did a ton of stuff with them. But as you all know, that the NiCad batteries that come in these things are crap. They'll be good at first. But, after a while, they won't charge. You get less and less life out of them. They won't charge. And then you're stuck with dead batteries, and brand new batteries cost you about $30, $40, depending. And they're not even a Hitachi brand. They're just like this one. They're similar, but not exact, and they fit. So anyway, the reason I'm saying this is because this is what got me started in dealing with the lithium-ion batteries. These batteries. So, I had some stuff I wanted to do to my front porch, and it was going to take me having to drill and screw in screws, and, I had the two original batteries. One's on the drill itself, and one is, the extra original. And there was no way I was going to get through everything I needed to do, and if anything else, it takes forever to charge rechargeable batteries, because you have to charge them at a low amp. Otherwise you end up damaging the batteries. So anywho, that being said, the reason, again, so I started researching online about, can you replace the batteries inside of these with something better, say, lithium ion. And lo and behold, I found some videos on there, because inside this battery, as small as it is, it's like the whole bottom half they're about C-size, the NiCads or NIMs, I can't remember exactly which, but anyway, they're about the size of a C-size battery, and they line up the whole bottom half here, obviously about, and then they'll stick a few up into the neck here. I want to say like 8 or 10, something like that. I don't know, that might be too many, but there's a bunch of them. So, and these come apart pretty easy. The top just unscrews, Phillips screw, pull it off, take the batteries out, yada, yada, yada. Replace them with these. Now, Dave, you say, that sounds way easy. Well, it is when you kind of know what's going on. It is not if you've never done it. So the first, one I did, obviously was one of the originals. And now this one's a little different. It's a aftermarket one that's designed for it, and I bought this brand new. Like I said, it cost me probably about $35 just for this battery. And you're saying, well, what the hell is that hanging off the back there? Well, the original charger would not recognize these batteries, or for whatever reason, there was either something wrong with the charger, or it wouldn't recognize the voltage on these or something, and it would not charge these. I stick them in and it would not charge them. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to get it to charge. Well, I had a regular battery charger for like some of my RC stuff, and but the connector was different, and I had a bunch of these barrel connectors, pigtails, handy, so I put that on there. And this, I will show you in a minute what this is, but this is a balance lead. This is for when you balance charge these things, because lithium batteries need to be balanced, obviously. So that brings me to this. Now, this is not a true IMAX B6. This is definitely a clone, but it's got the same programming as the original IMAX B6. You got the two leads here, and I've made a pigtail to plug in just for those batteries. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Those of you know what I'm talking about. And this is your balance lead. So when I plug it in, I'll plug this balance lead in, and it will keep track of each, because they're just individual cells in here, not a pack like I did for my charging station. It's not like an entire pack. It's just individual batteries in here. Now, all of these have Phillips head screws. Super. But this one has Torx head screws. Torx head. And it's not just any regular Torx head. It's the kind that has the little hole in the center. So luckily I had one handy. So let me get this off here real quick. This thing I've had forever. I mean, usually it's been used, and every now and again the ratcheting thing locks on me and it won't ratchet right, and I'll have to fiddle with it. But the old snap-on ratchet screwdriver has been with me forever. So let's see here. So I'll take these off. And I've already modified this one, but I'm going to have to put a battery, a BMS in here, because I don't have a BMS in this specific one, because I was only using it for a flashlight, because that kit with that screwdriver or that drill came with a flashlight as well. So I was just using it for that, and you know, flashlight's not going to be a serious draw, so I didn't put a BMS in it for that reason. So this is weird trying to do this through the camera lens. Someday I'm going to get one of those overhead cameras like some of these other YouTubers got, and do it that way. I've got a lamp. My overhead light is basically just one of those circular lamps, you know, that basically screws to the side of or screws to your table and then holds it on, whatever. But anyway, so let me get this off here real quick, and I'll show you what I have done. And I'm going to put the BMS on here, and I'm going to add a battery to it too, because it's only got 4 batteries, so it's a 14 volt basically. And wow, that is weird. And I'm going to add a battery that's going to make it, when it's fully charged, it'll be a 20 volt battery when it's fully charged, which my drill will handle most nicely. In fact, I used these batteries last week to finish that project on my porch, because I started it and then I built the batteries, and then, you know, life got in the way and ran out of screws the first time around, and then I had to have long screws, like 3-inch screws, to get through, because I was tightening up the porch. You know, they work loose over the span of time, nails rust, things of that nature. So anyway, so here's the battery that I built, and it has crappy battery. Oh, this one does have BMS in it. Okay, yeah, this is a 4S, which means four individual cells. And I was going to make it a 5S like the rest of them. So let me see if I can get this apart without doing any major damage. So you see how the batteries are. You got 4 batteries, and you have to put them in series and put the BMS on it. And then I've got the charging cables, balance cables, and then the cables that go up into the neck that you plug your drill into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble this thing completely, and I am going to add a battery. I wish I had 3 more of these, but I only have 2 or 4 more of these. I wish I had 2. No, I have 3 of these altogether, and I wish I could replace all of these with all of these, because these are much better than those. Those came out of an old laptop. This was my first one I built. This came out of an old laptop battery that I salvaged, and these are probably the crappiest cells I've come across. But I mean, they do the job. They charge up. They work fine. They're just not as good as some of these other ones. But considering I don't put a lot of serious stress on these, as long as they're all roughly the same voltage, it should be fine for what I do with it. So anyway, you got your BMS here. That's a 4S. Well, I got this one much smaller, easier to fit in there. This is a 5S BMS. And it's basically just, this is the battery. Keeps all the individual cells healthy and happy. And these are balance leads. So, and like I said, I'm going to take this all apart and redo it and add that next battery. But this only has 4 balance leads for the 4 batteries, and this one has 5, so I'll get the extra battery on there. Now, I'm sure there's some folks out there that are way better and more knowledgeable about this than I am, but again, that's the general rule from what I've researched. Now, I'm sure there's probably different folks that are going to have different things, and they're going to say, well, he's doing it all stupid and fucked up. But I mean, it works. Believe me, it looks like a rat's nest. It really does. Because you got wires going from one side to the other, but they all have to, like, basically come to this general area here, you know. And I had to modify this just a bit. You see, I had to cut out some stuff to make room for these battery mount thingies, but it works in there just fine. It fits in there just fine. And this battery is super light. You wouldn't even know it had batteries in it. Yeah, so that's the project that I'm going to be working on today. And I'm not going to run the whole video through the whole thing, but I will periodically come back and show you where I'm at, you know, like I usually do. I did, for you folks who suffer through my crappy videos, I did download a free video editing software on my computer. And I'm hoping once I get that figured out, because I've got more stuff that I want to go on this video that I want to show you that I've done that I hadn't videoed prior. And it's nothing special, just some little projects that I've worked on over before I started actually recording stuff. That being said, I am going to get back to this project. I got my soldering iron all stationed and everything all set up. And like I said, eventually I'm going to, if everything goes right and I can figure out how to edit videos and whatnot, I am going to try and get one of those overhead cameras that come over the top, just like my work light here. That way I can do things and I won't have to keep pausing the video and, you know. But anyway, like I said, hope everybody's having a great week so far. I digress. So hopefully I'll be back here shortly with a little update to this little project here, and we'll see. All right, we're back. So as you see, I've got everything rewired. Got the new battery in there. This goes to the board. This will go to this board when I'm finished. And you know, then I got the other one down here. And got all obviously the balance leads for the board and for the charger, which is probably redundant considering. But I like to be able to plug the balance leads into the charger and watch the voltages for each individual battery. So, as you can see, I got everything. I still gotta cover it up and solder it and whatnot, but or solder it. Put some Kapton tape on it to make sure nothing shorts. But the thing about the balance leads is, you've got them in the right order if you take your probe and you start with the most negative one here. The very last one is your most negative. That goes, that's your main negative and that's your main positive. So if you wire it to where you start, and then the next one goes to the very next set of batteries, and so forth and so on. So if you've got it wired right as far as the balance leads, let's see here. Let me get a better angle here. So what you want to do is, come on now. So you get your main negative over here, and you just stick the probe on there like so. Now, I've already got this put back together because it was easier to work with. So you got your main negative. Let's see here if we can do this in the shot. Alright, so there. Come on now. Why does everything gotta be like that? Get this out of the way so you can see. I hope you can see. So we got the first one. That's one battery. Just two batteries. Come on now. Two batteries. 3 batteries. 4 batteries. And all 5. Yeah. So that's basically how you do it. And again, like I said, if you've done this right, and you gotta get the probes on there right. Okay. Gosh darn it, boy, this thing is it's hard to do, man. It really is. You fat fingered it like me. Okay, 2, 3, 4, and all 5. Alright, so yeah, like I said, I have put this together, and I noticed that I wasn't giving you a pretty good shot, so there you go. On to the next project. My MP3 Frankenstein that I've done here. So I've got this Sony Walkman, and I bought this way back when. You can't even find them, and if you can, they want a mint for them. And yeah, those aren't scuba tanks. They are lithium-ion batteries. They're a AA size, and they do make them, but they are still 3.7 volts. Each one of these is still 3.7 nominally. But the battery that came in this originally, the one that's more like a cell phone battery, mounted inside, and it was a lithium battery. So the original battery that came with this, died. Basically, they don't last forever. Even these good rechargeable ones don't last forever. So I found one online, replaced it, which was a matter of popping the case, and I actually had to solder and unsolder the leads to the board because it didn't have a plug. It was just soldered directly to the board in here, which was fine. got it up, got it working. Thank God for the reset button. Where is that reset button at? Oh, there you go. But there's a reset button on here. I probably did something stupid and covered it up with that other battery. But anyway, so what I'm getting at is when you do have to do something, you do have to hit a reset button on here. And like I said, I probably covered it up with that other battery, not even thinking. Well, that's just peachy. Oh, well. Anyway, so back to my story. So anyway, the second battery lived its life and died. And I'm like, well, crap. So I ordered another one online. Managed to remember what I ordered and how, or at least researched the battery, and ordered another one online. Well, that one was DOA, which pissed me off. So I was thinking, well, I've got these that I use for different things. I put them in my remotes. And if you do it right, you can use one of these in your remote, just one, instead of two regular AA's. And they last way longer. So I had a few of these on hand. And this is a charging board. Well, it has its own onboard charger, which still works. But I put a one specifically for, they'll charge these ones. It doesn't matter. So I mounted my own charging board, a battery, and my Franken MP3 player works like a champ. And when I added the second battery and then didn't realize I covered up the dang reset button. Anyway, that kind of makes me mad because once again, I have stupidly done something without knowing I did it until it's too late. But I didn't tear anything up. The only thing I've done to it, and this is all hot glue. Everything, this is stuck on with double stick tape. Everything else is stuck on with hot glue. The wires, I drilled 2 tiny little holes into the case to run the wires from the board up to the charging board. And like I said, this one will charge it. It just takes forever. So this one charges a little bit better. And these are in parallel. So it still thinks this is just for one single cell. This one is designed to charge one single cell, which obviously if you know anything about batteries, if you put them in parallel, it still thinks it's one single cell. All it does is double the capacity. So this thing lasts as long or longer than the original battery that came in it when I first bought this thing. There's nothing wrong with the MP3 player itself. It was always the battery, and that's anything you have to deal with a battery. Eventually, you're going to have to replace them. And these phones that they make nowadays, that the batteries are part of the phone, and you cannot replace them. That just kind of sucks. But anyway, this was another project that I did that I didn't film because it was just something that I Frankenstein together, and I keep dropping because I have fumble hands. But anyway, yeah, whoops, turned it back on again. And so yeah, that's that. That's my MP3 Frankenstein. It works like a champ. I keep it out in the truck this way. I don't usually listen to regular radio. I used to have satellite radio, but then XM and Sirius decided they were gonna, and it was just like, pfft, I think I'll just drop the XM radio or the satellite radio for a while. I don't listen to terrestrial radio because I hate DJ chatter and commercials. So I listen to my MP3 player, and I've got about 200, 250 songs, something like that on here. And it's got plenty of room for more. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of what I'm working on today. Like I said, I'm going to make a few videos, and then I'm going to attempt, hopefully, to edit them together. And it's probably, knowing me, going to be a big disaster, but I will get it figured out and hopefully learn how to edit videos so I can take out some of this. Hello. So we're back, and this is a project I wanted to talk about that I did that I never filmed. Yes, this is my my porch lighting that I've come up with, and it's all run by, powered I should say, by solar power. And so yeah, it's all powered by solar. And it's all completely autonomous too. So anyway, yeah, like I said, the lights are powered by this, and I've got the juice coming out of here going out to my photocell basically, and the lights. And I got two inputs. See how those mountable XT60 plugs would have came in handy. But anywho, and the whole thing is powered by two 12-volt batteries. Now I've just got these shrink wrapped, but they're basically exactly just like the ones I put in my power box there. Everything's in parallel. The batteries are in parallel, and the dual charge controllers. The dual charge controllers are both in parallel, charging the battery at the same time, obviously. And like I said, I used just one of those $5 plastic, and it's got this is just like the, get me up there, there we go, just like the one I've got over there, and on the power box. Now this charge controller has got an extra activity. This one has the I got the load turned on for this one. Now you can set the load on these things. It's pretty easy. Get the instructions. These are not the MPPT. These are the other one, PWM, I believe. So these are they no matter how much juice you put in from the solar panels, they're only going to charge slightly higher than what your current voltage is. So that's kind of how they work. And I'm not an expert on it. Just look it up. That's what I did. These is what everybody had when they very first started coming out with, getting big with the solar systems, and these PWMs were the first type of solar charge controller. Not these specifically, but the PWM. Now they've moved on to the MPPT, which these still work. They still work for like small projects. If you're just doing something like I'm doing here, they're perfect. So anyway, this one supplies the power to the load. This one supplies power to my lights outside. Now you can program these they can either be off all the time, they can be on all the time from dawn to dusk, or 24/7, or you can program it to just be on for a short amount of time, which is what I've got. I've got a photocell out there that turns the lights themselves on when it gets dark enough to trigger the photocell. Now it only turns the power on to the photocell once the solar panels are no longer providing charge. Once the solar panels stop providing charge, it turns the load on and provides the power to whatever you're running. Now I've only got this set for like 5 hours, so it comes on at dusk, the power comes on whenever this stops charging, obviously, just like I said, but the photocell might not trigger the lights at the exact same time. So whenever it gets darker or dark enough, it'll turn the lights on, and then this only stays on for 5 hours because I don't need it to be on all night long. There's no point to that. It's just going to drain my battery. So, and then it'll shut the power off. Now, once the solar panels start charging again, the load will be reset and come on, at whenever it stops charging. Anyway, this one, it just supplies power, period. It just charges the battery. That's it. The other one does the work, most of the work. This one just supplies power from the other solar panel. And I looked it up, and you can run two solar charge controllers together. They just work in tandem, because the one that's hooked to this catches more of the afternoon sun than the other one. The other one catches more of the morning sun. And so between the two of them, it'll charge that battery up, good enough. So that was the other project I was talking about. This is pretty simple. Just everything's in parallel. So yeah. And so that's as far as this is concerned anyway. Anyway, we're outside now, and this is the other part. I got one solar panel there, and my photo sensor. Got the wires running down the pole, and down there, and then right there's the conduit that runs into the house. And over there, if you see, let's see if I can zoom a little bit. Yeah, there's my other solar panel. Again, they're just $40 25 watt panels. And like I said, this is just a prototype type setups. I wanted to see how it would work. So like I said, I got my photo sensor there, solar panel, and then when the lights aren't on, you really can't see them. That's the way I got it made up. So yeah, that's the outside. And alright, moving on. As you can see, I just run it through the wall where they had the cable. And these trailers, they just drill a hole in the wall and run the cable right through the wall. So I used that hole, and then the conduit on the outside is all RTV'd, so no bugs and whatnot. It just runs underneath this table here. It just sits on that shelf there. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's all autonomous. I don't have to mess with it at all. So, yeah, there you go. And this here is one of my favorite projects. Goodyear tire subwoofer. Yeah, that was when I worked at the auto shop. We were having a Goodyear sale, and this was a promotional tire, display tire. It's an actual tire. It was run on the track. It's got, well, there used to be markings, but I've kind of wiped them off. But anyway, yeah, it's an actual Goodyear Eagle tire. Got me a 12-inch Pioneer sub in there. And the story behind this was when the promotion was over, they were just going to throw this tire away. I said, yeah, no, we're not going to throw that tire away. I'll think of something. It's too nice of a thing to just throw away. I was going to make like a table out of it, but when it lays down flat, it takes up too much room. And so I got to thinking about, I had a stereo I had taken out of a vehicle, and I had a nice Rockford Fosgate amp. Hold on a second, I'll show you. So yeah, a nice Rockford Fosgate amp. Punch 500. That's a power brick for a Xbox One. And there's videos on YouTube to show you how to make a decent power supply. I got the on-off switch right here. It turns the power supply on. And I've got this little relay set up. I've got a remote over by my coffee table. I can turn the amp itself on. So yeah, that's the setup right there. That's one of the projects that I had done prior to doing YouTube videos. So yeah. So in case you were wondering, here's the display case I made for the Arizona. I don't think I filmed it because I was still in the process of working on it. Like I said, it's not necessarily for aesthetics. It's just function over form. That acrylic was hard to work with. Trying to cut it without it, breaking, and that's just a little Metal Earth Enterprise, Arizona. So anyway, like I said, there's my Mustang from before. Like I said, I'm trying to learn how to video edit, so it's going to be interesting. I'm always up for constructive criticism. But like I said, I'm just now learning how to do this video editing, and I've made some mistakes and done, but I'm working on it on little by little. So yeah, there's no need for those folks that like to get on there and just give you a hard time about your videos. It's like, you know what, I know I preview these videos before I upload them, so I know where the issues might be. That's why I said I'm still learning. But other than that, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Talk to you later.